Oh, you didn't know? Welcome back to another episode of the LTS Wrestling Podcast. It's me. It's that NICC, and it's just me and Jojo here today. What's going on, Jojo?
What's up, bruh?
What's
How
up,
you
brother?
been, man?
Man, we've been busy, but we're here.
Life has been lifing at us
It
100%
has.
miles per hour at a time.
Full force, pedal to the metal, bro.
Yeah, it's clearly still affecting the rest of the panel as
For sure.
only two of us are here today. So shout out Cuzzo, Jay, and Jasper. We
I miss
obviously
you
miss you
guys.
but nonetheless, we also miss all of you, our subscribers, viewers. Please, it goes without saying, thank you again for supporting us. I know it's been a minute since we've got this up and running, but nonetheless, we're here back again, and we are going to talk a lot about this past PLE SummerSlam, right? So a lot's happened since then, but at the same time, there's other things that we need to talk about, clearly from that PLE. But man, outside of that, like how you been, man? How you been? Like, it's just been a minute. I feel like we talk every day, but it's different when we see each other,
No, you know what? I've been good. Like I've been super busy. Really excited. For those of you who are subscribed to us on our TikTok and keep up with us, I am running our TikTok account, and if you keep up with us, I'm gonna be posting stuff on there about going to a local event, a local wrestling event out here in Hawaii. So come and check that out. It's going to be up on Thursday. The podcast will probably be up around the same time. So yeah, see you guys then. But pretty excited for that. Other than that, work is work, life is life.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty full force. How you been, brother?
Can't complain, man. Very similar to you, I would say. Specifically, work been, work's just been keeping me busy, which I'm grateful for. I think not like the most I will say is like, the only problems, if anything, first world problems out this way. Nothing too crazy, but I'm also grateful.
I feel that.
And I'm thinking and contemplating whether or not I'll be trying to attend the Monday Night Raw out in Anaheim. I believe it's out in October, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think I might pull the trigger on that, but nonetheless, I think I'm coming. The only thing that's coming out on my calendar right now is Survivor Series. So anybody that's going to Survivor Series at Petco Park, Survivor Series War Games happening at Thanksgiving weekend. I'll be there in attendance. So you happen to spot me, don't hesitate to say what's up. Definitely appreciate anybody and anyone out there that's supportive of our podcast. But before all that happens, man, let's talk about SummerSlam. SummerSlam, first time ever 2-night event. I believe this took place at MetLife Stadium out in New Jersey. Football stadium for the Jets and the Giants. And I will say it was a bunch of surprises, right? So first thing first, let's do a quick rundown. Day one, we got the tag matchup between Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, getting the W over the Bronson Breakker and Bronson Reed. We got the women's tag team championship match with the new tag team champions of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, defeating the Judgment Day, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Sami Zayn getting a W over Karrion Kross. We also had the WWE Women's Championship match with Tiffany Stratton retaining against Jade Cargill. We had the tag team match with Jelly Roll and Randy Orton taking the L to Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. And then the main event with Gunther taking the L to CM Punk. But that momentarily was taken away from Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, after he successfully cashed in. Night two, we started off that night with the triple threat for the Women's World Championship between Naomi, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. Naomi retaining. The tag team TLC match involving DIY, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Gun, Street Profits, Andrade, and Ray Phoenix. But the tag team champions Wyatt Six retained. We had a no DQ match for the IC title between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch with the men and still keeping her IC title. The United States Championship in a steel cage match with Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. Solo Sikoa retaining. We also had the men's IC title matchup between Dirty Dom versus AJ Styles, and Dirty Dom retaining as well. And the main event of night 2, street fight between the undisputed WWE champion for the undisputed WWE championship, Cody Rhodes and John Cena. And of course, Cody Rhodes being the new champion there. And of course, to cap off that night, the return of the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. So, Nick, let's go night 1 here. Anything that stood out to you, and obviously what you think about the ending?
Okay, so night 1, Karrion Kross and Samuels on night 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that one stung for me. I was convinced that, and I'm pretty sure everybody else was convinced, dude. And I seen this post SummerSlam. I seen an interview with Bubba Ray post SummerSlam. Even Bubba Ray was convinced that there's no way that Karrion Kross could have lost this one.
Mm-hmm.
It made no sense for Sammy to win. So when Sammy did win, I was confused. Because Sami Zayn didn't need it, even to forward his story with him wanting to be champion. Yeah, he didn't need the win. And I guess at the point that we're at now, and I know we're gonna go into this subject later on into the podcast, so I don't want to cross too far into this topic right now. But it makes more sense as to why Karrion Kross lost. And like I said, we'll talk more about it when we get into that subject. But I wasn't a fan of Karrion Kross losing. I feel like it was wasted potential. I have a lot to say about that. But like I said, when we get to that subject, we'll talk about it.
For sure.
Also, who else was on night 1?
We had Roman J. Uso, the Women's Tag Team Championship match, the WWE Women's Championship match.
The one with Io, Rhea, and Naomi.
That was night 2. So Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I feel like it's over for Jade. I feel like
really,
yeah,
like over as in her push.
I feel like Jade's push is done. I feel like it's done. Okay. I feel like Jade's gonna get relegated to mid card. I might sound like I might sound like a hater, but I feel like Jade's gonna get relegated to a mid card. I think that was. I will give props to Jade. I will give props where it's due. Jade has improved, but I feel like Jade hasn't improved enough. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, I don't feel like Jade has improved enough to the point where she can stand toe to toe with some of the best the women's roster has to offer. I feel like she's too clunky. I feel like her wrestling style is too. It's not as good as it could be, especially when you have Bianca Belair to compare her to. You know what I mean? It's like almost a 1-to-1. And when you have Bianca Belair, who has so much finesse, so much EST, you know what I mean? She's the fastest, strongest. You know what I mean? Like Bianca's got it. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting take, just because I personally thought this was one of her better matches, and going in against like a little bit more of a polished wrestler such as Tiffany Strand. Um, Jade clearly has a lot to still refine on her end. I just think her style of wrestling is clearly more powerhouse than finesse.
It is.
And
It
it
is.
really does depend on the matchups, because when you get a little bit more technical with somebody like her, it doesn't really showcase or highlight her skill set. It really
I
shows
just
more of
yeah.
a more of like a how should I say, kind of like a area of opportunity for her to grow still.
I
And she
think
gets pretty exposed.
I think Jade, well, while Jade has the look,
Mhm.
and she has like the aura and everything, I think Jade would have been better going off to NXT first before she came to the main roster. I think that would
Huh.
have served her better. Um, just to get her more accustomed to the WWE style. You know what I
Huh.
mean? Like, don't get me wrong, Jade has the look. She has the superstar look, right? She
Huh.
has the body. She has the look.
Mhm.
I feel like she could have spent a little more time in development, and I think her coming straight to the main roster might have hurt her a little bit because her in-ring work is what's hurting her. And I feel like personally, I mean, I could be wrong, and I feel like that was it. I feel like that was them. That was pretty much a layup for her. You know what I mean? Like them putting her queen of the ring. It should have been a layup. That should have been her going in, getting the championship, and then I mean, why have her and Bianca eyeing each other out for months on end, only for
See,
it to nothing?
I think that's the thing why she didn't win. You know what I mean? And I don't think it would be right to have her win the title and then even like pursue a feud going against Bianca, because then you're kind of setting her up for like a higher expectation. Like now you got the title and you got to defend it against Bianca. Bianca's so established. She's clearly one of the top stars in the women's division. And to
Right.
have her go up against a Bianca this early on, I think she still has a lot more to grow here. I'm not going to say that she would have benefit much more from NXT, because at the same time, you got I'm looking at what she brings to the table. I think she is a lot different from the rest of the women's roster for what she can bring. And because she already has that look, she definitely has this aura of like star power to kind of hold that back in an NXT platform, as opposed to like what Stephanie Vaquer has done, or a Julia. Like clearly they have done so much outside of WWE. Jade, on the other hand, she had her time in AEW. Clearly, yes, I will say she is not at that level, but I think the presentation of her when she debuted at the Royal Rumble and fourth has been nothing but fine with on my end. I don't think she's lost any luster here. She lost to Tiffany Stratton, out of all people. Like I don't think
Not a
that
bad person to lose to,
that's
right?
not a bad person to lose to.
Right, right, right,
Tiffany's also one of those people too that she is so athletic in her own right, and she's being pretty much the who's who, right? So
right.
for her to give up an L to a Jade right now, I think it's too soon. So I think what they're trying to do is really see how Jade can be against somebody like a top superstar such as Tiffany. She took the L, and I was fine with it. I didn't expect her to win, but at the same time, I do see her going into another storyline. Maybe she does chase the mid card title. Maybe the U.S. title for that matter. That would be great. But I know right now that's kind of with Julia and Zelina. They're doing their own thing. Um, now,
They
they
did have that interview on SmackDown though, right? Remember where had the Julia and Jade had that interaction?
they're like a tease, right?
Right, right. So
Clearly, it's
so
gonna be
maybe that's where they're headed. And you know what?
yeah.
I'm actually cool with that because maybe that gives Jade time to refine her skills. Because I only really have two criticisms of Jade is that she needs to refine her in ring work and she
Mhm.
needs to really get her pin together. Like she messes that thing up all the time.
Yeah,
Like
I'm pretty
she really
critical
needs to
on
get that
that
together.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
uh,
other than that, her packaging is fantastic.
right. And I don't know if this is another thing too that kind of plays into it, right? Because Bianca's been dealing with that injury. So I don't know if they're just trying to get her on TV or have her involved on TV until Bianca's 100%. Because I
Right.
feel like essentially that's what's going to lead up to maybe even Mania season, right? Like I think maybe they perfectly time it where that ends up being a WrestleMania matchup between her and Bianca. Because I still am, holding my stance on the fact that I think that Bianca had something to do with her attack leading into like that whole Naomi drama, and I feel like that's gonna
100%, bro.
come out to light
100%.
eventually. So, we'll see where that goes, but that's kind of like I'm still, sticking to my guns here on that whole piece. But yeah, like I think I'm gonna say this about night one for myself. Outside of the main event, I
Yep. And
honestly
then
felt a lot of these matches could have been on weekly TV.
yes. Okay. So yeah, and so going with that, and this is just I know we're talking about night one, but this is just an overall observation. I felt like SummerSlam being a 2 night event was a damn money grab.
We'll get into that in a bit. We'll get into that
Yeah.
because I definitely want to chime in on that piece as well.
Yeah. So okay. Outside of that, the main event, CM Punk versus Gunther. Man, that was good. It was
It
good.
was a good match.
It was a good
I
match.
enjoyed it.
Hey,
I
dude, you know
enjoyed
what?
it.
Hey, bro. CM Punk, dude, he took a beating. CM Punk
Mm-hmm.
took a beating.
Yep.
He really felt like the underdog in that one, dude. Like, I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely,
wow.
absolutely.
Hey, like, I mean, way to tell a story. Like, I mean, I kind of expected it to kind of feel like a half and half kind of thing, where it
Mm-hmm.
was like a back and forth, but no way, dude. Like, I mean, it really felt like Gunther was demeaning CM Punk throughout the whole
Mm-hmm.
match. It
Yep.
was like underdog story. Like he really felt like he was demeaning Punk throughout the whole match. And
It felt
CM
like
Punk came,
Ivan
yeah,
Drago versus Rocky
yeah,
Balboa,
no,
right?
it did, dude, it did,
Yep.
it did. And then when Gunther came out and he was started bleeding, I was like, oh my god, dude.
Yep.
Did he just blade himself when he
Oh,
went
he
under
had
the
to.
table? I was like, bro,
Yeah,
he
because he was
bladed him
doing it right underneath the table. Like he just
right underneath the
vanished.
table. Yeah, he
Yeah.
went underneath the table and he came all of a sudden. He had the red
Yeah.
mask. I was like, this guy
Yep.
just bladed. I guess
Yep.
WWE is blading again. And then yeah, so he
Oh
went in the
yeah.
ring, did the whole comeback, and
Yep.
and he won. Hey, it was a good match. And then freaking Seth freaking Rollins music hits,
Mm.
comes out. And I remember I was saying this. I was saying this. If Seth freaking comes out and he's not hurt, I'm not gonna trust WWE anymore. Remember, I told you that last time we had
Yes,
our
you did.
podcast.
Yes, you
I'm
did.
not gonna trust WWE anymore. And this is gonna also lead. This is also gonna lead into our Karrion Kross thing. Something else I'm gonna bring up in our Karrion Kross section about not
Okay.
trusting the WWE. But like I said, when we get there, I'll bring it up. But
No,
anyway,
for sure.
yeah,
I-
Seth
I-
Rollins
I'll
comes.
I'll say this. Like that main event. So I was actually in Vegas, at New York, at a bar, watching the match, and like it's interesting. We had like a few people around us, and we just kept talking about how CM Punk's gonna win, Seth's gonna cash in. A lot of people were like, "Are you sure? Do you think it's gonna happen?" I'm like, I am almost for certain that's what's gonna happen. Halfway through the match, like we're talking about how CM Punk was getting his ass beat. I was telling people there is no way he's gonna take a beating like this and not lead to a cash in by Seth. It would make no sense at all. Just to see him get beat and then lose to Gunther, it has zero impact of whatsoever for anyone. So when we were watching this match, you could see the reaction of everybody in that bar, just slowly anticipating that, oh shit, this might be actually happening. CM Punk all of a sudden turns the tide, and like you mentioned, Gunther, whatever he did, red mask, bladed himself, all of a sudden is on the opposition, trying to save himself now. GTS 1, 2, 3, boom. Now here we are standing in that bar. just waiting to see if Seth's music is gonna hit. And then, of course, they had that camera zoomed in on Punk's face. Perfect timing for the music to hit, and seeing that facial reaction, everybody was going nuts at the bar. I was like jumping.
The pop
Everyone is
must have
like,
been crazy,
it was,
dude.
yeah, it was like we were there. I'm not gonna lie. The excitement was there, but then we're slowly watching, right? Because you see Seth still in the crutches. We're like, oh, wait a minute. Nah, it's not gonna happen. You just could see him like mouthing stuff off on the stage.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You were saying enjoy it while you still
yeah.
have it.
And I was like, oh, he's not cashing in. Boo. And then all of a sudden he does a turnaround and he stops. Then we're like, oh shit, it's happening. He drops the crutches. Oh shit, he's going for it. Turns around, takes the brace off, takes his jacket, runs down with the briefcase. Now we're going nuts again. And it was such a moment just because I'll even say that I was there for the first Money in the Bank, his Money in the Bank heist at WrestleMania 31. So to see him pull this off, it just kind of it just gave me a little bit of flashbacks. Like, wow, just how he did it this time around was just so good. It was so good. Like, it was cinema. So yeah, I think night one, if anything, clearly that was a highlight. I'll echo the same thing that you said. I feel like, having 2 nights of this, specifically because of how the card was for night one, yeah, total money grab. I don't think it was relevant. They could have just had a lot of these matches on SmackDown or Raw. I'm not saying that they weren't good. They just didn't feel like a build to have a 2-nighter, like the way a WrestleMania typically would be. So I think a lot of these matches were kind of rushed in terms of like their build up. Specifically the Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, the Jelly Roll, Randy Orton, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre. I understand why they did that at SummerSlam, but at the same time that felt rushed. Even the women's tag team match, I was a fan of the match, but I didn't feel like there was enough build behind this. But I was also glad with the result of it because I'm very invested in Charlotte and Alexa's tag team right now. They're probably they've in my opinion, they reignited my interest in the women's tag team division. That's hands down.
The best frenemies, huh?
The best frenemies, yeah. Like that to me is like a must watch right now. Jay and Roman, it was all right in my opinion.
Yeah, it was all right. It was
okay.
Hey, tell Jay go back to the long pants, bro. Those boxer those shorts are not happening, bro. Not happening.
Well, it's summertime. You just never know. It's summertime. It was pretty humid out there in New York. But yeah, night one, that was pretty much the summary on that one. But night two, I felt like night two was a totally different vibe. You're coming off of the heels of Seth's cash, and I definitely expected a little bit more in terms of like heightened suspense and drama, and I felt like I actually got that night too. What did you think?
I thought night two was pretty good. That tag team ladder match,
ridiculous.
Oh my god, ridiculous. That Spanish fly. Yeah. Oh my god. That I mean of course that section where they did the 4 corners where they did the table spots. Yeah. That was crazy. I mean, that of course that whole spot was crazy. But the Spanish fly, holy bro. Yeah. Okay, that whole match was crazy. But you know what? What I will say is I don't know how I feel about the White Six anymore. They're not really catching on for me. I don't know how I feel about it.
Is it because they're so focused on the tag team division, or what do you feel like they're?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I feel like they're missing something. I don't know if it's the direction that the White Six are going, or if it's their. I don't know what it is. I'll be honest. I feel like they're missing something. They're missing the sauce. They're missing something that they're not latching on like how Bray Wyatt latched on. So they're missing something, dude.
I kind of see where you're going with it, but at the same time, it's like I think it's hard. I will say this: the way they was presented in their debut, it was clearly a big deal.
It was.
Um,
It was. I was excited.
and then obviously is a lot of homage to Bray Wyatt. Based on the character and obviously him being the head of the Wyatt Six. Now, I'll say this though: I don't think any of those people in the Wyatt Six are main event worthy, and that's just I don't know if it's a hot take, but I'll be honest. I think where they are right now in terms of tag team division, because the tag team division is hot on SmackDown, I think it's fine. I'm not
Yeah.
expecting any of them to like go for mid card titles or any
No.
of them to go for main event titles. I think where they are right now is fine. Obviously, Nikki Cross could eventually go chase one of the women's titles at some point,
Right.
but I think with the way they are kind of mixed and intertwined into this whole tag team division, it gives it something fresh because they're
No.
very
It is.
it's an
I,
unorthodox type of team to be involved with all these other great teams that are stylistically more, I would say, more in sync in tune with the type of wrestling they do, and obviously the way they all I would say kind of established themselves over the years. So it's interesting. I understand what you're saying, but
right.
at the same time, I have to keep my expectations low, thinking there's no Bray here. And
Right.
if
And
Bray
that's the
was
thing is,
there, it'd be
I don't know.
totally different.
Right. I don't know
Totally
if
different.
I don't know if it's my expectations because they're latching onto you know what I mean, like Bray's story, Bray's history, and my expectations for what it should be or what it could be
Mhm.
is the reason that I feel like they're not that they're not doing it justice, but that it should be in a certain place, but they're in a different. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's hard for me to explain what it is, but I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know how to explain it.
Or could it be because they're not really chasing anything? They're the actual champions
It
right now.
could
So
be.
they so because it seems like some people, I will say this, or some factions are a lot more interesting when they're chasing, right?
It could
As
be,
as opposed to
or
actually being champions.
now that you bring that up, you know what I think it might be is that I feel like they're not focused. They're not focused on something, and
Right.
chasing. They're not focused on chasing something. That could be why I'm not interested. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like there's not a big chase that they're chasing after, and they're not intensely chasing something. They're not putting a
Right.
lot of effort into something, and that just could be it. I don't know.
Right now
I just
they're the targets basically.
right, but and it's not like I when even when and that's the thing is that like for when Bray and here I'm like I said I'm comparing them to Bray of course,
Uh-huh.
but it's hard not to compare them to Bray because they're using Bray's legacy, right? They're
Uh-huh.
using Bray's ideas. Even when Bray was the champion, he was using tactics to fend people off, right? Like he didn't stay stagnant as a champion. He was still playing the mind games, and it's just you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things. I feel like the Wyatt family can do something to level up, and I would like to see also. I'd like
Uh-huh.
to see Nikki Cross do something. I'd love to see Nikki Cross do something then more than just be coming out with the White Six. I'd actually like to see her
Yeah.
chase a title. Not doesn't even
Yeah.
have to be a title. Put her in a program with somebody. I'd like to see Nikki Cross do something.
Right.
But that match, the ladder match overall, fantastic. That was a 5-star match. That was to me was a 5-star match.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think having some of the alums of the TLC match, right, like the Dudleys
yes,
and Hardys in attendance,
yeah.
probably did a little bit more for them than they actually thought. I
Bro,
think they really
I
had to
could
show out,
feel the alums getting jealous watching that match because of
like
how
they
good
really
it
wanted
was.
to jump in,
Yeah, like they wanted to be in that match. Like I could
and they're
feel the
all active
jealousy.
wrestlers too, right? So it's like it's
Right,
who
right,
says that they couldn't be involved if they wanted to.
exactly. Like that, bro. Like that was a fantastic match.
Yeah.
Um, the EO. Rhea and Naomi match, of course it was good.
Oh yeah,
Io
they
and
opened
Rhea
for a
was in it.
reason. Yeah,
Yeah, Io and
yeah,
Rhea's in it. Of course it's good. And Naomi's a vet, so of course it's gonna be good, right? All three of them were good.
yep,
So just nothing really to say about that match. It was good.
yep.
And what else? What else matches had?
We had the Becky and Lyra IC title
But Becky and Lyra,
match.
you know what? Becky and Lyra, you know what? That's the one match I felt like it dragged on too long. I felt like
Well,
it
I felt
dragged
like
on a
this.
little.
I feel like this feud dragged on too long.
Yeah, no, I felt like the match dragged on a little bit too long. I felt like it could have ended a little bit earlier. It went on a little bit too long, but I felt like the right person won. Felt like the
Yeah.
right person won. Um, uh, yeah, it was okay. And then John Cena versus Cody. Holy smokes, dude! John Cena doing the Canadian Destroyer. That was great. That was great. Yeah, I was like,
Definitely one of the better matches during his
that has to that
final run.
bro. That has to be like top 10 matches that John Cena has ever put on, dude. Like, not even joking. That John Cena went all out, but
Yeah.
when I was watching that match between John Cena and Cody, no joke, I was like, man, I feel like I'm, I feel like I'm playing like SmackDown versus Raw 2008. Like when I used to play those games on like PS2 and PS3, like
Uh-huh.
those things were like you could you could spam the crap out of your specials. So like
Yeah.
super kicks and spears, and it's just
Yeah.
literally it's a spam fest of
Your
your finishing
finishers.
moves. Bro, and that's exactly what that match felt like. It's just a spam fest of finishers. But it was great. It was a good match. And uh I'm not sure how I felt about that angle with Cody saluting him at the end. Uh, it was okay. It was okay. The ending was okay. Anyway, overall good match. Ending was okay. Uh, and then Brock Lesnar, that meaty bastard. Brock Lesnar came back. Somebody that I never thought we'd see again in the WWE. I'll be honest. I was kind of
Yeah.
surprised to see him back, but good shit.
Yeah, my jaw just dropped seeing that outcome. I think everybody was clearly fixated on the fact that we were waiting for a double turn.
Yes. Yep.
Um Obviously the whole John Cena turning babyface on SmackDown the night before threw a curveball at me at first because I'm thinking to myself, why are they doing it now? Or why are we kind of getting a babyface Cena right now? So that was kind of an interesting thing here because then it really made me rethink of the actual outcome. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, you still have the other half of it, which is basically Cody turning heel. So I'll still kind of roll with it.
But
At the same,
John did a good he did good at explaining why he's turning back babyface though. Talking about
oh
how
yeah, yeah,
his team
yeah,
left
no,
him.
yeah, yeah. It was a good promo. It was a good promo on his
Basically,
part,
he basically talked shit about The Rock and Travis Scott.
and it'd be interesting to see how that, if that even plays into something down the line, right towards the very end of his time.
Yeah.
But I think right now I've also kind of accepted that. Obviously, hearing the reports on like Travis Scott and his relationship with WWE, it's not a something that is potentially gonna, I would say, further any storyline at the moment. Um,
Rubbish.
and I'm not banking on it at all. I'm actually good if I'm okay if he doesn't.
Give me another Jelly Roll match.
That's probably just you though. But yeah, no knock on Jelly Roll, but I'm good. Like I think Jelly Roll did a good job, but I'm
Come
good.
on, Jelly Destroyer, bro.
That's the problem. He didn't do it. If he did it, I'd be saying otherwise. I'd be like, hell yeah, let's run it back. Let's fucking go, right? But yeah, no, like this the main event. I think Cody Rhodes, John Cena, great match. For especially for John Cena at this point in his career, I'm not expecting him to. meet the same athleticism as some of these other guys, but he did a hell of a job. I know with the way his last few months have been as a heel, I know there's been a lot of criticism about like how people are just like, he's trying too hard to be a heel. He's clearly a baby face, and it's not easy for him. And I kind of also see how this is almost similar to when they wanted Austin to be a heel. Remember that time when he aligned himself with Vince McMahon? I believe the second meeting against The Rock when they headlined WrestleMania. I forgot which
Right.
WrestleMania it was, but nonetheless, the result of that was Austin aligning himself with Vince, and it was just kind of also like the time when he was like the leader of the that ECW WCW faction too, right?
The Alliance.
The Alliance, that's right. So it's like, yeah, seeing somebody being a babyface at you know almost a good portion of their career and then going heel for that matter is hard. It's hard to like accept that, especially because John Cena's John Cena's last year. Like he's less than what, like a dozen dates left, and how do you not want to cheer for the guy on his way out?
Yeah, I think he
So
has like what 11 dates left or something like that.
yes, so at this point we gotta be able to like vocalize our how how much we adore the guy and like give him his adulation of
Okay,
being such a big baby face throughout his whole career and all that good stuff, right?
so this is something that I've been thinking about. So I have two questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I've been thinking about since SummerSlam. So I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
So one, do you and some people think it has, some people think it hasn't. Do you think John Cena's heel turn failed? Was it a failure?
You want me to answer that before the second question?
No.
So what's the second
But
question?
the second question was okay, and the second question is,
uh,
do you think that the pops that he's getting right now would be as loud? I mean, regardless, John Cena would get loud pops because he's John Cena, of course. And of
uh-huh,
course, he's on his way out. But it's extremely loud right now.
uh-huh.
Do you think the pops would be as loud as they are right now than if he had just been baby faced the whole time? Just doing cookie cutter John Cena the whole couple months that he's been, you know what I mean? The farewell tour.
Yeah.
Just being cookie cutter John Cena the whole time.
Yeah, so my response to the first part, no, it did not fail. Why? Because what's the alternative? What would have they had done? Let's just be honest. I don't think the eyes on John Cena's farewell tour would have been brought to this level, especially because when you run it back to the Elimination Chamber and when it happened and how it happened, there was so much shock and awe behind that specific moment. You can't tell me that that was not a monumental moment in wrestling history. Like the fact that people were comparing it to the Hogan heel turn with the NWO at Bash in the Beach, like that speaks volumes. Now, obviously, it didn't run its course the way Hogan's heel run ran, but we only have a year. Like, what did you expect it to like run its course into next WrestleMania? He's not gonna be there. He said specifically this last Mania was his last one, and I don't understand the criticism. Even though you are entitled to have your own opinion, I just don't understand what you would have done differently. Because at the end of the day, even whether or not The Rock and Travis Scott are not involved with it, you see how the crowd reacts to him and the way it just kind of pivoted halfway through the year to SummerSlam, where him now is a babyface. I thought it was fine. I don't have any issues with it because you only have so many dates with John Cena left. When were you going to plan or if you were even gonna plan the babyface turn, were you literally just gonna make him run his last year as a heel and write it out that way? Let's be serious here. That's just ridiculous, like in a stupid way. But at the same time, when they did it, it made a lot of sense because now look what happened. The Beast Incarnate's back, and clearly he's not the baby face here. You know, you've as you recall, anytime John Cena has had his interaction with Brock Lesnar, clearly he was the baby face. So I think the timing of it with them bringing back Brock and having him turn babyface, it's perfectly fine. Like the fact that that ending happened, I get it. I get it, right? Like I don't see any reason for John Cena to stay heel and then babyface Brock. Like really? Is that I don't even see how that's gonna get over. No ways. Like you have to have John Cena babyface from this point on because I think there are other feuds that you could potentially line up here and have him be the babyface in those feuds. Maybe he runs it back and has a final run with Seth. Maybe he runs it back, maybe he actually goes against Gunther, like one of the more like the fresher faces of the division, right? Clearly Brock Lesnar's in the picture here. Drew McIntyre has also been another opponent that they talked about. So there's matchups here that you want to see him go up against some of these other guys, but some of these guys are actually top heels. Hence now you need a babyface John Cena. You know what I mean? So take it for what it's worth. I don't think it was wasted at all. Secondly, no, I do not think these pops would be as huge because clearly there's a reaction to the fact that he was a heel and he turned babyface. We've seen this all the time. Anytime you had a heel turn babyface or some sort of turn for that matter, you will get a larger reaction. Typically, that does happen, especially for somebody as big as John Cena. We like to see these things happen, right? You kind of anticipate it, and then when it does, you want to do nothing but give them that pop. And clearly, the crowds have responded that way. So that's my answer on those two questions.
That's that's fantastic answers. And I 100% agree with you. And I think I've been watching a lot of Paul Heyman
Mm-hmm.
clips because the reason I started thinking about this kind of stuff is because I've been watching. I mean, not because I've been watching, but it's just you know what I mean. Like part of it is because I've been watching like clips from like Paul Heyman and
Mm-hmm.
guys that have been in the wrestling industry. And when you listen to how these guys talk, how they talk about the wrestling industry, and how you listen to how they talk about how the wrestling fans are so fickle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're guilty of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that we're not, but they talk about how the wrestling fans are so fickle and that we want this, we want that. It's all about immediate gratification. And I thought about it, and I've been noticing a lot of people online talking about like, yeah, can we just talk about it? John Cena's John Cena's heel turn was a failure. It wasn't good. This, that. But then I really stopped and I thought I was thinking about it. I've been thinking about it. And I was like, was John Cena's heel turn really a failure? I don't think so. Because look at it, look at what happened. It made headlines. I mean,
Yeah.
not just amongst the IWC. I mean, it made headlines everywhere.
Yeah. Pop
You know what I mean?
culture,
Yeah,
a lot of
bro.
mainstream news
That's what I'm
outlets.
saying.
There was a
It
lot of
made
traction with just that specific moment.
right, dude. I remember the local news talking about it. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like it wasn't like an actual like section, but I
Mm-hmm.
remember them talking about it. Like they were mentioning it on the news. Like they
Mm-hmm.
were talking about it amongst themselves, and so you know what I mean. Like it there was traction to it. And I thought, and the reason I thought of that second question is because John Cena now, like when he comes out, the pops are so loud. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And throughout his career, you know what I mean. We went from when he was, the chain gang soldier. You know what I mean? He was,
Dr.
yeah,
Thugonomics.
Doctor of Thugonomics. He was kind of a heel, kind of a
Yeah.
heel. Yeah, he was
So he
technically a
started off
heel.
that way. Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
he
He was
definitely
technically
did.
technically a heel, and then
Uh-huh.
he somehow became a face. Everybody, his
Yeah.
character was just so over that he
Mm-hmm.
just became a face. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
He technically never turned face. He just became a face because his character was so over,
Right.
right? And then he just stayed a face for so long that people started hating him.
Yep.
And then, you know what I mean? And then so I look at it as like, okay, his if he came back when he came back, of course the pops were loud. But if he had done his Mr. Hustle loyalty and respect for the duration of his farewell tour, I
Uh-huh.
don't think I think at this point, with only 11 dates left, I think we would have been looking at different headlines for the IWC. And
Uh-huh.
I think the wrestling community as a whole would have been complaining. Would have been like, John Cena's almost out, and this is all we've gotten from John Cena. We've been seeing this for the past 20 years from John Cena, and this is all we're getting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you guys didn't make it interesting. But then like now John Cena's heel turn is done. And then you got people complaining saying his heel turn was a fail. Can we talk about it? It was a failure. But then you watch the shows and the pops are louder than ever. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like,
It's the evidence shows otherwise.
right,
Right.
right. So it's like, I mean, it's like you just can't win with it sometimes. You know what I mean?
But that's our fan base.
Yeah.
Our fan base, like you
So
said, they're fickle as
loyal.
hell.
Yeah, so loyal,
Yeah.
yet so fickle, dude. It's just like, but you know what? Hey,
Bunch of
I feel
complainers, but they won't present solutions. I think
yes.
that's a common theme with a lot of our
Yeah,
fan base.
but I personally don't think that his heel turn was a fail. I think it served its purpose, and
Yes, yeah, that's the best way of putting it.
I think it served its purpose, and it's gotten us to appreciate who John Cena is, and it's getting us to enjoy him with the rest of the dates he has on his way out.
Right.
I think that's what it is.
And if you really think about it, a lot of people have been pushing for a heel Cena like for years, right? And this
Yeah.
is even prior to this last year. And you finally got it. Now you want to bitch and complain because what made it a failure? I can't even say that sentence because it's like what made it a failure? You know, to say that his heel run was a failure, what made it a failure? I have to kind of push back and ask why.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna tell me, oh, because it didn't last that long, I'm like, how long did you expect it to
Yeah, how long
last?
did you what there may have been missteps with certain aspects of it. I'm not gonna like say names, Travis Scott, but you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
there may have been missteps along the way, but I'm not gonna say his heel turn was
And
there's no
I can't say
not
that's
by a long shot.
within his control, though. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
If
And that wasn't
anything,
in
there's going to
his
be different parties involved. I can almost say that for Cena, clearly because he's a company guy, he has no control over what Travis Scott wants to do, his schedule, and how much more of a commitment he wants to make WWE. It's not John Cena's prerogative or his own within his control to dictate that. John Cena's
Yep.
gonna worry about John Cena at the end of the day. He's
Yep.
gonna do what's best for the company,
100%.
and he's always been a company man. So for us to really like dangle that whole Travis Scott thing over his head, hey, you know what? Let's focus on the positives here because it's the what if at this point. We're gonna go down hypotheticals, and there's nothing that we can do to change the past. It is what it is. Now, The Rock, on the other hand, he's clearly part of the board. We don't know if there's going to be involvement with him down the road. We'll see. At the same time, if you're that upset about it, then just don't get your expectations up. Leave that
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
piece out of the equation and don't expect it because that's how you set yourself up for failure. Because
It's the expectations that get you pissed off.
it's what's happening now is we got a babyface Cena. His heel run has clearly ended, and he's gonna write out the next 11 dates that he has for the rest of the year, doing whatever is best for the remainder of his career. And hey, you know what? Who are we to really dictate that as fans for somebody that has given us so much? let's just be honest here. Sit back, enjoy the rides. Quit fucking bitching. That's what I'm
At this
saying.
point, right? At this point, let's just enjoy the ride. This
Yeah,
is one of
enjoy
those
the
times
ride.
we just gotta enjoy the
Yeah,
ride.
like that. Let's be honest. It's beyond our pay grades at this point to dictate what creative is, and you know the other part of it too is like I think we get too fixated and being too comfortable with the old ways of what WWE was, and a lot of it clearly impacted by Vince McMahon, and we have to remind ourselves again: this is a new regime. This is not a Vince McMahon WWE. It's a TKO WWE. Whether you like it or not, the product is still much harder than it was. Let's be honest about that. We are going to be critical about all the prices and all this good stuff, especially because we've talked about the SummerSlam being a 2-night PLE and clearly a
Oh
money
yeah.
grab. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, guess what? Sit back and just understand that that's what's going to happen moving forward, and we're going to have to accept it at some point. Otherwise, don't go. Stop watching the
Yeah.
product, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you can have that choice at the end of the day, which is kind of like I guess a good way to segment to this piece of the podcast here. Clearly, one of the bigger, news that just broke was the new deal that WWE made with ESPN, or clearly the Disney company, right? Because Disney owns ESPN. So,
Right.
starting next year, I believe in August 2026, all PLEs are now going to be on ESPN streaming platform, the exclusive streaming platform. But I think the other part of it too that people don't realize, I guess, is if you do already have ESPN with your current cable network or streaming network, um, that would be included. So there would be no need for you to purchase ESPN's app exclusively. But obviously, there's a lot of criticism on this piece, right? Because we're again comparing it to WWE Network and Peacock. It's a lot of different factors that kind of play into the fact that this deal clearly is a big um I would say a big money deal for WWE and ESPN, but at the same time it's going to cost us a little bit more money if you need to get ESPN, right? What's your thoughts on this?
So I know they said that there's other platforms as well, right? So I know not just ESPN on your cable, but I think they did say YouTube TV as well as
I think as
I
long as
think
you
it
have
was
ESPN on your YouTube TV and
right
all that
YouTube
stuff.
TV. I
Yeah.
think Hulu TV. Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Sling. Yeah,
Right.
just all those other
Is it
like other
Fubo? Maybe
platforms.
Fubo?
Yes.
Maybe I
Something like that.
yeah. So there's a bunch of them. So there are people out there who won't have to worry about it as far as buying the ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
So if you already have that kind of stuff and you're paying for it, you're a cable cutter, but you buy like that kind of cable
Yeah.
through the internet, then you really don't have to worry about it. So that really doesn't affect you. Um, this really only impacts people like me. So the people that I'm talking about is the people who don't watch football or
Mm,
sports outside of
for
wrestling.
sports. Yeah.
I'm not really a sports guy.
Or you don't
Um,
have cable television at all.
yeah, and
You
I
don't subscribe
and
to
I'm a,
any of those
right.
platforms.
I'm a cable cutter, and I
Mm,
don't watch sports, and I only subscribe to Peacock just to watch wrestling, or just to watch the PLEs. I mean,
yeah.
of course, I watch like other stuff, but mainly it's specifically to watch the PLEs. So the main crowd I'm speaking to is the crowd that are like me who literally only subscribe for the PLEs, and this is the crowd that this mainly affects.
Mm,
Um, $30 a month is kind of steep just to watch the PLEs. Um, I'm not a fan of that.
mm,
I think $30 a month is kind of crazy. We're heading back into pay-per-view territories. If you know, you know. If you're not old enough to know what a
mm.
pay-per-view is, hurting my feelings a little bit.
But let's make sense of this though. How much were pay-per-views back in the day, or even now?
Pay-per-views. They were
Were they like $40?
$59.99. It was
Yeah.
something like that.
So even more. So
Yeah,
60
there's something.
bucks.
Yeah, they were like 50 or 60 bucks. Because I
Right.
remember, because I remember being, I want to say we were like 18, 19. Because I remember every year I threw a WrestleMania party at my house. Like right after, like I think we were like 18 or 19. I always threw a WrestleMania party at my house, and I always told my dad, I was like, "Hey, Dad, throwing a WrestleMania party at my house. I'm going to order a WrestleMania on the TV. I'm inviting a bunch of the friends over. Is it cool?" And my dad was always cool with it. You know what I mean? So, and I remember I told him, I'll give you the money for it. Can we just order it? He's like, yeah, it's okay. That's cool, son. Just give me the money for it. And I think it was like $50 or $60 or something like that. So, I mean, not exactly pay-per-view territory, but close. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, when you're getting a pay-per-view, you're only getting that and the replays.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
When you think about $30 a month, yeah, if you don't watch sports, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But it's not just exclusive just to the PLEs, right? You're getting everything else, especially because now that they have that deal also with the NFL. So
True.
it's like you're banking on two of the biggest like watched, televised events on, especially going into this upcoming NFL season. It's clearly parallel with all that happening, right?
That's true.
And
but
then
like
on
I said,
top of that, ESPN got other stuff too. So
that's true.
It just depends. It just depends on what kind of viewer you are.
This is impacting the people that this impacts the most is the people like me who I do not watch sports at all. Like sports do not interest me at all. I'll watch it if it's on TV. If everybody else is watching, I'll sit down and watch it. But like I will not actively go out and search and watch sports. So for me, like $30 a month is kind of steep. So for people who are like me, here's your tip.
I see where you're going with this.
Here's your tip. Go get yourself a VPN. Don't get one of those freebies, because those freebies will mess you up. Don't be a cheapo. Get yourself a pretty decent one. I personally use ExpressVPN. They're kind of expensive, but they're worth it. You don't have to get an expensive one. You can get NordVPN. I heard NordVPN is pretty good. Shop around. Do your homework. But like I said, I personally use ExpressVPN. They do have specials. Don't buy it outright. Look for the specials.
It's not a real endorsement because we're not sponsored.
Yeah, it's not endorsement. We're not endorsed. We're not endorsed by any of these guys.
Not saying that we'd be closed off to it.
Yeah. If you guys want to endorse us, for sure. Hey, we're open to it.
I'll promote the hell out of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, of course. I'll splash screen that bad boy and everything. But yeah. So grab yourself a VPN, and as you guys know, everywhere else besides the US, Netflix streams everything. SmackDown, NXT,
Raw,
all the PLEs,
yep.
Everything is on Netflix. Yep. So that's how. And like I said, I'm a cord cutter, so I can't watch SmackDown. I can't watch NXT, but yet I can because I have a VPN. So when all that stuff comes on, turn my VPN on, put my VPN on Canada, says I'm in Toronto, turn on Netflix, and I get to watch all that stuff live. So that is my tip to you guys. And I pay for my VPN. Cost me about $100-something a year. So it's like, and sometimes they'll even give you like $40 for 2 years. That's what I got on mine right now. It's like $5 a month.
And there's obviously other benefits to having a VPN also.
No, yeah, of course. But like, you know what I mean? Like $5 a month, and then you get to watch all that stuff. I mean, can't go wrong.
Did you ever see that meme? The meme with Triple H?
No, I didn't.
Like, you know how he like does that? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching through VPN around the world.
all I'm saying is that the domestic US viewership is gonna drop once it goes to ESPN. I'm calling it.
You
right
think
now.
so?
I think so.
Okay, we gotta see. We gotta see.
I think it is.
That
I think
ends
it
up
is.
being true.
I think it's gonna. I think domestic viewership is gonna drop, and I think international viewership is gonna go up, specifically because of VPNs. But if you guys are, if you guys do like sports,
It'd
and
probably be in your best interest to
yeah,
get it.
I think the ESPN Plus thing is great because
Mhm.
they said it's $300 a year, so you actually get 2 months free. So I mean,
If you need to
yeah,
get it.
yeah, if you need to get it,
Yeah, which
I think it's a pretty good investment
yeah,
if you
yeah,
enjoy
because
sports.
and just not consider we haven't even like considered all those people that already have it
Right.
in that
So
sense.
I
So
mean, and like I said, if you have it, you don't even got to
they
worry
might,
about this. It impacts you in
yeah,
no
because
way.
at the end of the day, it might just end up saving people money and people cutting the cord on Peacock
There you go.
because they're already paying for all the other stuff in addition to Peacock, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, it could be a wash. Um,
What do you
Side
think?
note also, well, I think it's interesting because of the other part of it too, at TKO, right? Like, there's also the UFC side of things, and they just signed like a huge deal with Paramount, which I heard kind of impacts the AEW side for that matter,
Oh, interesting.
in some capacity because Paramount and CBS, right? They now have the rights to the UFC. I believe the UFC pay-per-views. So,
Okay.
I don't know if they extends to their library, but nonetheless, I think that partnership's 5 years or something like that. About like $7 billion. So yeah, it's a huge, huge
That's
deal.
crazy.
Yeah, so I think the timing of that, and then now you got WWE on ESPN, because I think UFC was with ESPN prior to, so
I think
it,
it
it
was.
yeah, so it's just a lot of these deals happening around this time. It's just crazy. TKO is just booming right now. Um, but yeah, like I think honestly, it doesn't bother me that much. I think at face value, it kind of was shocking
It is.
because
It is.
it was just like, damn, we've been watching PLEs on Peacock and just paying the monthly. Which
Yeah.
wasn't that extravagant, in terms of like I think Peacock's like $10 a month versus 30. So,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it from that perspective. But then, obviously the fine details comes out like, oh, you eventually don't have to worry about it if you already have ESPN. Which, interesting enough, I was actually even considering getting like YouTube TV at some point. But nonetheless, I think here it's another thing that I even reminded myself, I'm like, well, technically pay-per-views were almost like $50 back in the day, and you're only getting the pay-per-view and the replays.
They were
uh
expensive, dude, back in the day.
yeah, so I was just like, we weren't complaining that much then. I think we're just a little
I
bit more
I watched
spoiled
a
these days.
I watched a lot less pay-per-views back then, bro.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie, we had like the little black box in Scramble, so
Oh.
I think we talked about this back then, but
Oh, yeah, you
you
had
know
that kind of VPN, huh?
yeah, that was the OG VPN before the
The OG
VPNs.
VPN.
So, like, I want to say though, I see this kind of like, like how Netflix was at some point. Remember, there was all DVDs and they did the DVD streaming, and then all of a sudden they separated it. That kind of ruffled a lot of feathers with the customer base. And then next thing you know, they've done away with the DVD. So it's kind of going down this route. You know what I mean? Like I think the way and look at the company of Netflix now. It's so much bigger than what it used to be back when it was solely DVDs.
I
So,
remember.
to just like really look at it right now and just be like, oh crap, this is such a money grab. Yeah, it is, but at the end of the day, it's just gonna make the product much bigger and create more exposure for that matter.
For sure.
And I think that's just kind of like where WWE is going at this point. They want to definitely be they want to have a global presence, and you see all these talks about them doing these PLEs in Saudi and like a WrestleMania like PLE in the future. Like,
Oh, we need to talk about that on an
it's
podcast, bro. We need to
oh
talk
yeah,
about that
we'll definitely save that for another one, but just because like I feel like there's a little bit more to tell about that, but just the where the company's moving right now, I think entirely, we got to remind ourselves, and I said this earlier, it's a new regime. It's a TKO regime. They are clearly taking this on a whole new level, globally, internationally. You see all the ads. Just, I think I've come to a point where I've accepted like these changes, because what are we gonna do about it? Like, honestly, stop watching. Like, that's not gonna happen. I'll be
Nah, no
honest
way.
about it, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm
it's
not
not gonna.
stopping. I'm not gonna stop watching.
Yeah, and I'm
It's
still
too
spending
good
money
right
on
now.
these. Exactly. See, that's the thing, right? If you are paying more but not getting a better product, then I have an issue with it.
For sure.
I would clearly stop watching and stop paying. But I'm going to these events. I'm spending money on merch. I'm spending money on these meet and greets. I'm making the time to do this podcast on wrestling. What does that tell you? That's because the product is so good right now. I think the company's moving in the right. The world of wrestling has clearly moved and elevated. Like, I feel like that one push by WWE clearly, has impacted the waves around it. And everybody's benefiting at this point because everybody wants to be involved in wrestling, no matter how small or big the companies outside of it. They're clearly also benefiting as well. That's just it's healthy right now, which is great. Great for the wrestlers, great for the industry, and great for the fans. I have no reason to complain. Let's just be honest about that. There's been darker days, and I'm just glad. Like, right now, I don't consider it to be that. But the other interesting thing is, like, we're talking about deals, right? So obviously, there's been movements in terms of the roster, and I think one prominent name that has been at the talk of the town as of late has been Karrion Kross. Now, this past Friday was, I believe, or it was either Friday or Saturday, I believe, the last day of his contract. There's been speculation that he was offered a contract. At the same time, him and Scarlett were also moved to the alumni page, and I believe the following day, I think it was Sunday, they actually posted on their social medias that they were no longer part of WWE. So, question to you: is this a work?
I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about it, dude. Okay, so we're bringing it back to the Seth Rollins thing. Remember, I told you if Seth Rollins was
The
not
injury.
hurt, I don't know how it's gonna. I'm not gonna trust WWE anymore. I don't know how far they're gonna. I don't know how far they're gonna take stuff anymore. If they're willing to go that far to fake an injury mid-match during a PLE and then drag it out for the sake of a storyline, just to surprise us months down the line, how far are they willing to drag out a firing to surprise us, maybe to rebrand Karrion Kross? I don't
You think they
know.
would
I don't know.
rebrand him though?
Maybe come bring him back as Killer Cross.
Huh.
You know what I mean? Give him a more like, give him maybe a
So,
little
like,
bit
the
more.
R-Truth treatment,
No, not maybe
like
not.
how R-Truth came back as Ron Killings kind of thing.
Kind of maybe give him a little bit more creative freedom, maybe a little bit more creative freedom. Kind of, you know what I mean? Let him open up a little bit more. You remember? So like, remember like how I was talking about like how he gave that promo on the Ariel Hawani show. It was
Was it
that
Hawani show or the other, like,
it
or
was
Sam
it
Roberts? I thought it was Sam
was it
Roberts.
was it the Sam Roberts show, or was it Ariel Hawani?
I actually forget. You might
Yeah,
be right.
what you know what promo I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I think it was
The
post
turning point,
is wasn't it? Yeah, post Mania
right?
or
I
one of
mean,
yeah, it's post
but you know what I'm
one of the
talking about,
PLEs. Yes,
right? You know
it's
what I'm
post
talking
one of
about.
them. Mhm.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about. The turning point,
Yeah,
the turning
which
point
ended up
is
being a
what
work anyways.
right. It was a work.
Yeah, he confirmed
We
that.
all knew it was a work, dude. I
Yeah,
mean, but that's what we wanted, right? And
yeah.
that's what I feel like Cross was missing that whole time. And if they would just let Cross do that, be like that, dude, I think Cross would be so over. But somebody had posted on our TikTok about how he has merch posted on Pro
Pro
Wrestling
Wrestling
Tees.
tees. Yeah,
Yeah. And they said once a wrestler has merch on Pro Wrestling Tees, that basically confirms that they're out. And I can't disagree with that. But then we're bringing it back to the Seth Rollins thing. how far is WWE willing to go
Yeah.
for the sake of nowadays trying to pull the wool, pull the sheet, you know what I mean, pull the wool over our eyes to
Uh,
fool us, you know what I mean? To to have Triple H go, you enjoyed the show, right? We meant to do that.
it's all
Like
part of
how
the show.
far, right? How far are they willing to go to fool us? And like I, even they're even like I've been listening to like a lot of the reports online, like WrestleMania. I listen to a lot of WrestleMania, and even they're saying like um even though like Karrion Cross and Scarlett are putting that out on top social media. Even like the independent wrestling scene, they're not sure if they should actually contact them because they're not sure if it's a work or not. Like they're confused
Right.
because they're in the same boat as us.
Yeah.
They're not sure if WWE is working everybody or not. You know what I mean? Like everybody's
Which
confused.
which is interesting we see this because obviously not that long ago on Netflix they just debuted that new series Unreal, right? And they kind of peeled back the curtain a little bit, and or not even a little bit. I felt like they kind of peeled it back a lot to kind of show different aspects of the production. And it's almost as if it's like they're breaking kayfabe, and a lot of hardcore fans are like, "Oh, I don't need to see that." I think they're just exposing the business. Nobody's gonna take it seriously. I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like you know how this kind of ties into this topic, right? It's like the internet has already shown so many things that they were trying to keep secret. Whether it's rumors, news regarding talent, just behind the scenes, creative input, all this stuff. It seems like it just keeps continuing to get leaked.
No,
So
and that's that's what it is. It's the internet is just mad that they can't leak it anymore.
yeah,
Basically, all WWE Unreal is WWE saying, "Fine, you guys want to see the cards? Here's the cards." And the internet is just getting mad, saying, "Oh fuck, we can't leak that shit anymore." You know what I mean? It's
right.
like WWE is like, "Fine, you want to see it? Here it is," and
Yeah,
it
and
is what it is. It's something we all know already.
I think that the part of that too, right? So now that you're doing all this, you almost have nothing to hide. But like you said earlier, the whole Seth Rollins thing. Clearly, we all took it as face value, just like the way his facial reaction was, the way he played it out in the match. It almost seemed legit, and there was a lot of concern. People really had their reservations, like, "Oh crap, his knee again," like which he's had a long history of injuring himself with the knee. It's like, man, he just got the money in the bank suitcase, and he's like, how does this kind of play? It got a lot of people talking, but then you see that whole thing turn into a swerve at SummerSlam. It's just like, okay, I kind of get it now. I think I think the WWE is more inclined to doing stuff like this just because everybody seems to know everything at this point. But this, so it's almost like they have to almost fabricate some of this information out there, almost kind of a reverse thing to instead of like reporting or like leaking out information that's actually factual. They're giving it to us straight to our face, but like clearly at some of these incidents, they're just clearly bullshitting us at
Yeah,
face value. I think it's come down to that point, and I think I don't blame them because you have a lot
yeah,
of dirt
yeah.
sheets,
I
dirt sheets
understand
trying to
that.
get their 2 cents in, or trying to get their clicks and try to get their views. At the same time, it's I'm sure it's frustrating for WWE, or not just WWE, for any like company, right, to like have surprises for that matter, and it always gets leaked out before it actually happens. So at the end of the day, I think one thing I took away from the whole Unreal series was that when it comes to these huge surprises, it's clear that they only have a few people that are in on it, and not nobody else. Like even like the actual announcers, right? They don't even get any information. So their reactions are so genuine, specifically when they are surprised. So I don't blame them. And kind of tying back to the whole Karrion Kross thing. Could this be a work? I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't be
Hey,
surprised at all.
that YouTube video that he posted out, that was really well put together, and that was like professional grade
Mm-hmm.
editing put together. I mean, it's WWE level put together, dude.
Yeah.
Which is what it was kind of off putting to me
Yeah.
that would be released literally 4 hours. Well, when I saw it 4 hours after he put it out, I watched it and I was like, dude, that's like professional level. And I'm not saying that
Yeah.
he couldn't find somebody to do it, but like part of me was like, why would you preemptively make that kind of stuff and then possibly sign back with WWE and then maybe never use something that dude, that 1 hour, it's really it's an impactful hour of footage, dude.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you got to watch it.
Not yet.
It's strong, dude. It is
Yeah.
a really strong hour of footage. I mean,
Uh,
and for you folks at home who haven't got to watch it yet, I highly suggest you go and watch it. It is a really, really, really well put together hour of footage. That last 5 minutes, really impactful. It's so well put together. And the first thing I thought of when I finished watching it was that was so well put together. And while I don't doubt that Karrion could find somebody to put that together, the level that it would take to put that together, the effort that it would take to put that together is a lot of effort. Which makes me think that maybe it's a work.
And I don't think the pro wrestling tees thing is an all be all. I've seen it in the past where like they pull merch off their out of that company's site. There's also legends that have shirts on their site and they still have merch on WWE's shop.
Right.
That doesn't really say anything at the end of the day. And
right.
I think the only thing that will tell us is if he actually signs with another company, and that's it. That will be the actual variable here that we need to see happen to understand whether or not, or to actually know that he's not back with WWE. Because, at the same time, I'm sure that a lot of people have eyes on him and Scarlett. They probably want to, bring them in wherever he may choose to go. But we'll see what happens. It's in a position where, like, for a fan like myself, I'm okay with it, But the other telling thing is on Monday Night Raw, being that this is the first WWE show after it was announced that he was no longer with the company. Did you not find it interesting that there wasn't really a crowd reaction to them expressing a "We Want Cross" type of movement?
I did find that interesting. I think they said there was a couple of signs that
There was
said
a
"We
couple
Want
of
Cross."
signs.
Yeah,
There was a couple of signs.
They got confiscated. I know
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they said they got confiscated. I was also reading in some comment sections that there were a few like sections
Like
that
before
started.
or after, like before or during the show, were they confiscated?
I think they were during the show.
Because I saw a few that were actually like shown on TV.
Right. So it was confiscated during the show. I think. So I also read in a couple comment sections that there was a couple of like sections, not the whole arena, but sections where they were chanting "We Want to Cross," but WWE might have muted them out. Like there were people live at the event.
That's interesting.
I want to say I will wait till Friday to see if anything happens because that is a Canadian crowd, so that's Sammy's hometown. So maybe that wasn't the crowd to do it. maybe.
I don't know. It's just weird because like I'm just thinking back R-Truth. When R-Truth was released, there was not a show that was like I would say quiet about it.
True.
Every show was pretty vocal about R-Truth, which again it's a surprising thing for me because of how people have been online and vocalizing about giving Karrion Kross a push. But yeah, like I did not hear any chance for him,
You know,
and it's
I think
surprising.
with Truth and Cross, it's two different things. With
Hmm.
Truth, Truth is he's an established name. He's like a pillar, right? For WWE. He's
Hmm.
somebody, he's a familiar name. He's somebody that we know that we can count on to have like a good entertaining segment.
Hmm.
Um he's a regular. So we know when he shows up, we can at least expect to have a good entertaining segment. With Carrion, we see the potential for him to we see that he's just broken through the wall. The
I
first wall at least.
but see that's the thing. Like I felt like he had this traction enough,
He did.
enough to the fact that when he was put on a show, he clearly had a crowd reaction,
Mhm.
whether they were booing him or they're cheering for him. And I know that a lot of people have been very vocal and kind of pushing him almost to be like a baby face, right? Like the way he
Right.
was getting cheered, the way he was reacting with the fans post show, during the show. It was quite telling how much people rallied behind him. And whether or not WWE, you know, cared enough to put it on TV, that's clearly like something that they either hid well or didn't. But if you're reading what people are putting out there and trying to say like, oh, give him a push, give him a chance, yada yada yada. The moment you think people would actually be vocal about it, being that Monday Night Raw the following day, I honestly expected to hear that, and it was the opposite.
There was none.
There was
There was none.
nothing. And I was kind of like waiting because like there's also those moments where like there might be a match where nobody was probably interested in. And let's be honest, I think the only match that I probably would have anticipated a "We Want Cross" chant was during that Becky and Maxine Dupree match, because it just felt
Yeah,
like it felt like
that
that
was a
match
bad
was
that was a bathroom break match.
whatever.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not a fan of people hijacking the show, especially when you have actual active talent there performing, I almost expected them to have a "We Want Cross" type of chant going on at that specific moment or any time of the show.
Right.
And again, clarifying that I'm not a fan of that. It just seems because of what the crowd react or the fan reaction was online about him not being re-signed. It
Right.
almost
Especially because
presented itself that way
he was the
to what
number one
happened.
trending on Twitter and
Yes, yeah, that thank you for bringing that up because that being another thing, right? Like, if there was really a movement, if there's really people behind him, I'm just surprised there wasn't really any of this on TV. The way our
I
truth had it.
I would say wait for an American crowd. I
Okay.
think maybe I think maybe that was not the crowd for it. I would say if SmackDown rolls around and nothing materializes, then it is what it is. I think because is SmackDown going to be in the U.S.?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, if SmackDown's in the U.S., nothing materializes, then I think it is what it is. I think because I think people see the potential for Cross.
Yeah.
I think he's finally because I've said it before. I was critical of Cross before. I just he was missing the sauce. He was try hard. He just there was something about him. He just wasn't. It wasn't clicking. It wasn't clicking. It was and it was up until recently. Right before I want to say right before he went on that show and he gave that little bit of a pipe bomb kind of speech when he
Mhm.
was stalking everybody. I was starting to really take notice of him. You know what I mean? He's starting to do his promos backstage. It's when I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to see more of him. But then he went on that show, and then he gave that really like impactful speech. I was like, okay, there we go. That's what
Yeah.
I want to see. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see. Give Karrion Kross mic time like that. Let him just spew off.
Uh-huh.
Give him his mic time. And then let him work some matches.
Right.
And I think Karrion could make something with Karrion.
Yeah. Well, now we have to wait and see if he comes back or if he
Yeah,
signs
we'll
somewhere
see.
else.
We'll see. We'll see. Only time will tell.
We will see. But yeah, man, that again, it's just been so long. It felt like it's been a long time, and we haven't
It has been.
talked
It
shop.
has
So,
been.
clearly that was a lot to discuss here, and quite frankly, I'm glad we did. I appreciate you, appreciate the viewers as always. Continue to please follow, like, and subscribe. We really appreciate you guys all, and we enjoyed this episode. And what's the next PLE coming up? Clash in Paris. Oh, actually,
Paris.
there's also the what was it, Triple Mania, right? Triple A.
Oh, yep. Triple Mania.
That's coming up. So
Dominic
maybe,
Mysterio bringing back the
yeah.
title to the clubhouse, baby.
Ooh, sounds like that's gonna happen. That'd be interesting. You need to re up on some gold, right? But yeah, there's those look apparently those PLEs are coming up, and more wrestling to look forward to. So otherwise, sir, have a good evening. To our viewers, we out.